Right now, as you're watching this, a massive weather system is racing toward the United States. And what scientists are seeing on their radar screens is unlike anything they've predicted this winter. Here's what's shocking. Within the next 7 days, over 200 million Americans will be directly impacted by not one, not two, but multiple storm systems colliding in ways meteorologists are calling unprecedented for January. But here's the twist you need to hear at 30 seconds. While everyone's talking about snow and ice, there's something far more dangerous developing. A temperature swing of 60 degrees Fahrenheit in some regions in just 72 hours. Think about that. 60 degrees. That's not weather. That's chaos. And if you stay with me, at the 5-minute mark, I'm going to reveal which states are in the direct path of what could become the most significant storm of 2026 so far. The data is already in, and it's alarming. Let me paint you a picture. Remember the scripture. Matthew 24, verse 7. Nation will rise against nation, and there will be famines and earthquakes in various places. Now, I'm not saying this is the end times, but what I am saying is that creation itself is groaning, and right now, the atmosphere over North America is under extraordinary stress. Here's your first critical data point. The jet stream, those high-altitude winds that control our weather, is about to perform a complete flip. Currently, it's angled from the northwest, dragging Arctic air across the Great Lakes and Midwest. Temperatures in these regions have been brutal. We're talking wind chills approaching -20 degrees Fahrenheit. But hold on. In 48 hours, that pattern reverses completely. A massive ridge of high pressure is building over the southern plains. And when I say massive, I mean a dome of warm air so powerful it's going to shove temperatures 30 to 35 degrees above normal. Let me give you context. Towns in Iowa that are seeing 20-degree weather today, by Friday, they could hit 70 degrees. 70. In January. That's not just unusual. That's a meteorological earthquake. Now here's the part that should make you pay attention. The best information is coming at 3 minutes 20 seconds, so don't go anywhere. While this heat wave surges north, a storm system is forming off the west coast, and this isn't your typical Pacific storm. Computer models are showing upper-level winds intensifying to over 150 miles per hour at jet stream level. When this energy crosses the Rocky Mountains by Wednesday, it's going to explode. Think of it like this. It's a collision course. Warm, moist air from the Gulf of Mexico meeting cold air still lingering in the north. And sitting right in the middle of that collision zone, the Midwest, the Ohio Valley, and parts of the Northeast, tens of millions of people. Here's a question I need you to consider. When was the last time you checked your emergency supplies? Because according to current forecasts, we're looking at a multi-hazard event. Snow, ice, severe thunderstorms, possibly even tornadoes. All from the same storm system. And that's not speculation. That's based on data from the Global Forecast System model, which as of this morning is showing a storm so large it could impact 3/4 of the continental United States simultaneously. 3/4? Now, before I show you the exact timeline, let me share something that puts this in perspective. In Genesis 9, after the flood, God made a covenant with Noah. He promised never to destroy the earth with water again. And he gave us the rainbow as a sign. But he didn't promise there wouldn't be storms. He didn't promise easy seasons. What he did promise is that he would be with us. Isaiah 43, verse 2, when you pass through the waters, I will be with you. And through the rivers, they shall not overwhelm you. Right now, rivers across the Midwest are preparing for potential flooding. Because here's what happens when you get 60-degree temperatures after weeks of frozen ground. The snow melts fast, and when you add rainfall on top of that, which this system is forecast to bring, you have a recipe for flash flooding even in winter. I need you to remember this number. 35 degrees above average. That's the temperature anomaly expected in Missouri, Illinois, and parts of Indiana by Friday afternoon. To put that in perspective, if the normal high is 30 degrees, we're talking 65-degree weather. In the middle of January, Agricultural experts are already concerned. Fruit trees could start budding early. Then, when the next cold snap arrives, and trust me, it's coming around January 15th to 22nd, those buds freeze. Crops get damaged, food prices go up. Everything is connected. But here's the twist at 4 minutes. While the Midwest prepares for potential severe weather later this week, there's an immediate threat developing right now. Today, this afternoon, the Southeast is under a marginal risk of severe thunderstorms. Now, marginal might sound minor, but here's what that really means. Isolated tornadoes are possible, damaging winds up to 60 miles per hour. Hail the size of quarters. And it gets more interesting. California, just north of San Francisco, is also under a tornado watch today. When was the last time you heard about tornado warnings in California and Florida on the same day? This is how unstable the atmosphere has become. In fact, we've already had our first tornado of 2026. It touched down on January 1st, just 12 hours into the new year, near 3 Points, Arizona, and meteorologists are saying we could add to that total today. Florida, Georgia, Alabama. Between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. today, stay alert. Have your weather radio ready. Know where your safe room is. Because if any supercell thunderstorms can organize in that warm, humid air mass, they could spin up quickly. Now let me transition to something that's going to impact millions this weekend. And this is where things get sneaky. Sunday morning, a fast-moving storm system is going to form over Minnesota. It's going to develop rapidly, and when I say rapidly, I mean within hours. This system is going to dump heavy snow across the upper peninsula of Michigan, northern Wisconsin, and Minnesota. But here's the dangerous part. On the southern edge of that snow, we're expecting freezing rain. Freezing rain is one of the most hazardous weather conditions. It's liquid rain that freezes on contact with surfaces. Roads become ice rinks. Power lines accumulate ice and snap. Trees collapse under the weight. Minneapolis, Milwaukee, possibly even Chicago could see ice accumulation Sunday afternoon. Even just 1/10 of an inch of ice can make roads completely impassable. And this is going to happen fast. Between noon and 8 p.m. on Sunday. So if you have church services Sunday morning, if you're planning to travel, you need to know this is developing. Plan accordingly. Maybe attend the Saturday evening service instead. The good book tells us to be wise as serpents and innocent as doves. Part of wisdom is preparation. Now, the snowfall totals from this Sunday system aren't going to be massive. We're looking at 1 to 3 inches across northern Michigan and Minnesota. But it's the rate of snowfall that's concerning. Heavy snow falling quickly means visibility drops to near zero. Snow squalls, basically whiteout conditions that last 15 to 30 minutes. If you're driving when one of those hits, you can't see the car in front of you. Here's the question you should be asking. Why is all this happening at once? The answer is the jet stream pattern I mentioned earlier. But there's another factor. Sea surface temperatures in the Gulf of Mexico are running above average. That means more moisture, more fuel for storms. At the same time, we still have pockets of very cold air in Canada waiting to plunge south. When you mix extreme heat with available cold air and abundant moisture, you get explosive storm development. Think of it like mixing ingredients. Individually, they're manageable. Combined, they create something much more powerful. And that brings us to the main event. Thursday into Friday of this coming week, this is the storm meteorologists are watching most closely, and at the 7-minute mark, I promised I'd tell you exactly what's expected, so here it is. A major low-pressure system is forecast to develop over Kansas on Thursday. As it moves northeast, it's going to have access to warm air that's been building all week. Temperatures could be in the 60s and 70s across the Ohio Valley and Midwest. That warm air is going to rush northward. Meanwhile, cold air will still be in place across the northern plains and upper Midwest. The collision zone? Right through America's heartland. The GFS model, which is one of our most reliable forecasting tools, is projecting this to be the largest storm system of 2026 so far. And remember, we're only 10 days into the year. Here's what could happen. Heavy snowfall, possibly 6 to 12 inches across the Dakotas, Nebraska, and Iowa. Blizzard conditions are not out of the question. That means winds over 35 miles per hour with heavy snow, creating visibility near zero. At the same time, severe thunderstorms could develop from Texas through Missouri and into Illinois. We're talking large hail, damaging winds, and yes, tornadoes are possible. In January, and then as this system moves into the Great Lakes and Northeast, it could bring a mix of snow, ice, and heavy rain to millions more. We're potentially looking at over 100 million people impacted by this single storm system. 100 million. Now, I want to address something. Some of you might be feeling anxious right now. That's understandable, but remember Philippians 4 verses 6 and 7. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts. Preparation isn't fear, it's wisdom. So what should you do? First, check your emergency kit. Water, non-perishable food, flashlights, batteries. If you're in an area that could see ice or heavy snow, make sure you have enough supplies to shelter in place for 72 hours. Second, have multiple ways to receive weather alerts. Your phone, a weather radio, local news. Don't rely on just one source. Third, know your safe space. If you're in an area with tornado risk, identify the lowest level of your home, away from windows. Interior bathrooms or closets work well. Fourth, charge your devices. If power goes out, you'll want fully charged phones and backup batteries. And finally, check on your neighbors, especially the elderly, those living alone, anyone with medical needs. James 1, verse 27 reminds us that pure religion is caring for widows and orphans in their distress. In modern terms, that means looking out for the vulnerable in our communities. Now let me give you the temperature timeline, because this is remarkable. Today, parts of Nebraska and Kansas are seeing temperatures in the 50s and low 60s Fahrenheit. That's actually close to normal for this time of year there. But by Monday and Tuesday, the Great Plains will warm dramatically. We're talking 20 to 30 degrees above average. So places that should be in the 30s will be in the 60s. By Wednesday and Thursday, almost the entire country, except maybe extreme northern New England, will be experiencing above average temperatures. The map will be shaded orange and red from coast to coast. And then Friday and Saturday, this is where it gets extreme. Iowa, Missouri, Illinois, possibly Indiana and Ohio could see temperatures 35 degrees above normal. If normal is 35 degrees, we're talking 70-degree weather. In some places, record highs could be broken. Cities that have temperature records dating back 100 years could see those records fall. For farmers, for gardeners, for anyone who pays attention to the seasons, this is concerning. Creation operates on rhythms. Seasons have purposes. When those rhythms get disrupted, there are consequences. Ecclesiastes 3, verse 1. For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven, but our seasons are shifting, our climate is changing, and whether you attribute that to human activity, natural cycles, or a combination, the fact remains. The weather patterns are becoming more extreme. Now, after this warm spell, don't think winter is over. Because here's the twist at minute 10. Long-range models are suggesting that between January 15th and January 22nd, a significant Arctic blast could plunge south into the United States. After days of 60 and 70-degree weather, temperatures could crash back into the teens and 20s. That kind of whiplash is hard on infrastructure. Pipes that thawed could freeze and burst. Roads that melted could refreeze into sheets of ice. It's also hard on people, the elderly, those with respiratory issues, anyone without adequate heating. When temperatures swing that dramatically, hospitals see increases in heart attacks and strokes. So this isn't just about inconvenience, this is about public health. Let me give you another perspective. The National Weather Service exists to save lives and property. Every forecast, every warning, every alert is designed to give you time to prepare, but here's the thing. They can give you the information, but you have to act on it. In Matthew 7, Jesus tells the parable of the wise and foolish builders. The wise man built his house on rock. The foolish man built on sand. When the storms came, only one house stood. The difference? Foundation, preparation. We can't control the weather, but we can control how we respond to it. Now, let's talk about the West Coast, because they're not escaping this active pattern either. Multiple storm systems are going to slam the Pacific coast over the next 7 days. Today, tonight, and tomorrow, we're looking at excessive rainfall in coastal California, Oregon, and Washington. Some areas could see 3 to 5 inches of rain in 24 hours. That's enough to cause flash flooding, mudslides, especially in areas recently burned by wildfires. Higher elevations will see heavy snow. The Cascades, the Sierra Nevada, could pick up 1 to 2 feet of snow by Monday. And then another system arrives Monday and Tuesday, and possibly another Wednesday. It's a fire hose of moisture coming off the Pacific Ocean. For those regions, the concern is cumulative rainfall. When soil becomes saturated, it can't absorb any more water. That's when landslides happen, roads wash out, rivers overflow. If you're in the Pacific Northwest or Northern California, monitor local conditions closely. Have evacuation routes planned if you're in a flood-prone area. Proverbs 27, verse 12. The prudent see danger and take refuge, but the simple keep going and pay the penalty. Prudence isn't paranoia. It's paying attention. Now, I want to circle back to that massive storm system forecast for Thursday and Friday. The reason meteorologists are so focused on this is because of its potential size and impact. When you have a storm that could bring snow to the Dakotas, severe weather to Kansas, ice to Michigan, and heavy rain to Pennsylvania all at the same time, that's a logistics nightmare. Airlines will cancel flights. Highways will close. Schools will delay or cancel. Power outages are possible, especially with high winds and ice. Supply chains get disrupted. Deliveries get delayed. Grocery stores could see shortages if trucks can't get through. This is the interconnected world we live in. One major storm can ripple across the entire economy. But here's another twist at minute 12. The uncertainty. As of right now, the exact track of this Thursday-Friday storm is still being determined. Models are in good agreement that a significant storm will happen, but the details, the exact location of heaviest snow, the precise area of severe weather risk, that's still being refined. Forecast models update every 6 hours. Every new run gives us more information, but it also means things can change. That's why you need to stay updated. Don't just check the forecast once. Check it daily, even multiple times per day as we get closer to Thursday. And this is where I want to emphasize something. In our modern world, we have incredible forecasting technology. Satellites watching the atmosphere in real time. Supercomputers running complex simulations. Meteorologists with decades of training. But even with all that, there's still uncertainty. We can't predict exactly where every snowflake will fall or every tornado will touch down. Only God knows that. Our job is to prepare as best we can with the information we have, and then trust God with the rest. Psalm 46, verse 1, God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. When the storms come, literally or figuratively, that's where our foundation needs to be. Now, let's talk about what happens after this big storm system. By next weekend, January 11th and 12th, the weather pattern should calm down somewhat across the lower 48 states. Most areas will see quieter conditions, but that doesn't mean winter is over. We're only in early January. Historically, some of the coldest and snowiest weather comes in late January and February. And those long-range models I mentioned earlier, the ones suggesting an Arctic blast around January 15th to 22nd, that could bring the coldest air of the season so far. Wind chills could drop below 0 Fahrenheit across much of the Midwest and Northern Plains. Even the South could see temperatures in the 20s and 30s. For context, hard freezes can damage crops. Citrus growers in Florida and Texas watch these forecasts closely. One hard freeze can wipe out an entire season's harvest. Water pipes freeze and burst, costing homeowners thousands in repairs. Homeless populations are at extreme risk. Exposure to temperatures below freezing can be fatal within hours. churches and community organizations often open warming centers. If your church isn't already planning for this, maybe bring it up to your leadership. It's a practical way to live out Matthew 25. When you've done it for the least of these, you've done it for me. Here's another number to remember. -20 degrees Fahrenheit, wind chill. That's the threshold where frostbite can occur on exposed skin in less than 30 minutes. If we get the Arctic blast that's being forecast, parts of the northern U.S. could easily reach those levels. So anyone who works outdoors, farmers, construction workers, delivery drivers, needs to take precautions. Layer clothing, cover all exposed skin, take frequent warm-up breaks. Your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit. Taking care of it is stewardship. Now, I want to address severe weather risk one more time, because this is critical. When we talk about severe thunderstorms in January, it sounds unusual, and it is for much of the country. But it's not impossible. All you need is unstable air, moisture, and wind shear. And with temperatures forecast to hit the 60s and 70s across the southern and central U.S. this week, all those ingredients could be in place. Tornadoes in January have happened before. The deadliest tornado outbreak in January on record occurred in January 1999. Over 17 tornadoes touched down across Arkansas and Tennessee, killing 17 people. So this isn't theoretical. It's rare, but it's real. If you're in the central or southern U.S., this Thursday and Friday, take severe weather warnings seriously. Don't assume winter means you're safe from tornadoes. We already had a tornado on January 1st this year in Arizona. That should tell you the atmosphere is primed. Have your plan ready. Know where you'll go. Have shoes and a flashlight near your bed in case warnings come at night. And here's something practical. Download a weather alert app if you haven't already. Set it for your location. Make sure notifications are turned on. Those alerts could save your life. At minute 14 now, and I want to bring this full circle. We've covered a lot of information. Multiple storm systems, temperature swings of 60 degrees, snow, ice, severe weather, all within 1 week. It can feel overwhelming. But here's what I want you to take away. Creation is speaking. The weather patterns we're seeing are telling us something. Whether it's climate change, natural variability, or prophetic signs, the message is the same. We live in a dynamic, powerful world. We are not in complete control. But we serve a God who is. He commands even the winds and the waves, and they obey him. Our response should be threefold. First, practical preparation. Stock supplies. Monitor forecasts. Have a plan. Second, community care. Check on neighbors. Offer help to those in need. Be the hands and feet of Jesus. Third, spiritual grounding. Pray. Trust. Remember that God is sovereign even over the storm. In closing, here's your action plan for the next 7 days. Today, Saturday, January 4th, Southeast and California watch for severe weather this afternoon and evening. Have tornado plan ready. Tomorrow, Sunday, January 5th, Upper Midwest, watch for ice and snow. Avoid travel if possible between noon and 8 p.m. in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan. Monday through Wednesday, watch for additional storms in the West Coast, Central U.S. Enjoy the warmth but prepare for what's coming. Thursday and Friday, this is the big one. Major storm system impacting Central and Eastern U.S. Heavy snow possible north, severe weather possible south, high winds, travel disruptions expected. Next weekend, quieter but stay alert. Week of January 15th. Possible Arctic blast. Prepare for extreme cold. And here's your teaser for what's coming next. As this pattern evolves, we're going to be tracking not just weather, but also the long-range outlook for the rest of January and into February. Some models are hinting at a major pattern shift around the end of January that could set up the most active winter weather of the season. You won't want to miss that update. The pieces are already falling into place, and what happens in the next 3 weeks could determine the weather for the rest of winter. So stay connected, stay informed, stay prepared, and above all, stay grounded in faith. The storms will come, They always do. But we don't face them alone. God bless you, stay safe, and we'll see you in the next update.